last week I had a crescendo of events, let's say, that took place where I was in a very, very dark place by Friday afternoon, right? So my professional life is, I deal with like a lot of stuff that's like fairly high stakes and conflict heavy, right? So there's a lot of people chirping at me about, different aspects of a case that might make it unsuccessful. It's an adversarial system that we have. So there's me on the plaintiff side, and then there's somebody on the defense side that's chirping at the claim that I'm trying to bring forth and trying to poke holes in it, right? That can take a toll psychologically on anybody, as you're just constantly getting criticized and constantly getting told you're wrong. So there's going to be moments where you're not necessarily in the right mindset to be receiving a bunch of bad news at a particular moment, and you might hit a run where you get some breaks that are tough pills to swallow repeatedly, because there's certain things I always try to find a way to hold myself accountable for something that doesn't necessarily go the way that I thought it should, because it's always an opportunity to learn, right? But last week I was in a particular mindset where I just wasn't receiving this news well, repeatedly. And I was getting some bad news repeatedly, bad ruling from a judge, bad interaction with insurance defense counsel, bad interaction with my own client that had different expectations than were being met at this particular moment. And what I have to do is talk to other people that are I have a ton of guys that fortunately are experienced and willing to listen and bounce stuff off of, so I can work through it and get better from it. Because at the end of the day, I have to unplug to a certain extent. I have to be able to do the work as well as I can and execute on it as well as I can, and know that at the end of the day, it's up to 12 random people in a jury or a judge or whoever's on the other side of a case that that's what's going to dictate the outcome. And all I can do is control my universe of the way that I present that information. And there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that goes into doing that successfully, and that's what I can control and get better at. But at the end of the day, that's what's going to dictate the outcome. I think a lot of people have that, right? Where any kind of competition will light you up, right? And that fire needs to be contained and controlled in the proper direction, right? Because if it starts to spill over into blaming the person who are the fact finders, if you're blaming the jury for the outcome, oh, we got a bad jury. It's well, look, what could you have done better? Think about what your universe of control looks like and how you could have prepared better. Think about it like that, rather than, oh, it's a bad jury, it's a bad judge, oh, the insurance defense lawyer was being so unreasonable, and how could you ever have a successful case against somebody that's that psychotic and rude and demeaning? And it's well, you can, you know what I mean? Figure out how, or take up a different line of work, So getting better through that process is, it's a grind, but it's enlightening in a lot of ways too. So it's good.